the other end, it's the other end of age and it's the other end of your mind. But I think that's why when you're older and you're left by more, your brain just steadily starts to lose its contact, and that's when your body decides to give up. But obviously, as a baby, you don't have that developed mind, but at the same time, you're losing every connection in every way. And I guess because you're not somehow physically, mentally, emotionally stable enough, your body gives up. Does that all
Yes.
make sense?
Yes, yes, yes. I think it's just like all comes down to this. I think importance of social connections in general. That we are very social creatures, and I think this is big. It's almost built in our nature because this is the way we survive. This is our evolutionary advantage. I think over other possible species at that time, and I think that's why it's so hardwired into our nature that it's really hard to be isolated from other people even when people are ignored by other like social contacts, they feel physical pain. Their brain actually indicates the same reaction as to physical pain. So yeah, I think that makes sense that it's really important to us, and this is something that makes us happy or very unhappy. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Everything makes sense.
100%.
Yeah, to me.
Emotionally as well. If you're anxious, you're going to be in a lot more pain, and vice versa. If you're painful, it's going to make you anxious. And I've been dealing with that for over 20 years, so it's extremely difficult.
Yeah, if you don't mind sharing your story, yeah, I would love to hear that. I think you mentioned the on the other event that you had severe chronic pain, right? Something, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, if you don't mind sharing, if you feel comfortable with that, yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about that because it changes everything. I think
Is
in
that
the lifestyle.
is everybody okay with me still talking? I just don't want to keep up to like
I think
really.
nobody don't minds, but I have another hand raised from TGA 5, I think. So a couple of minutes ago. I think
Are you
well,
still okay
Yes.
with me?
yeah, yeah.
Do you mind if I can ask a question very quickly?
Huh?
Yeah,
Do you
that's
mind?
fine.
Thank you. Lovely. Sorry, what's your name again? Azzy? Azzy
Azzy.
mentioned here, yes, she was saying that there was an experiment of children who died due to lack of love and affection.
Yeah, it was like
And I
an
was just
official
wondering, I
syndrome.
mean, do we,
Mhm.
is there
When they were
like
in
a
hospital.
specific age after which you're beyond repair? Because I mean, if you look at people who suffer from schizophrenia, for example, a lot of it, is deeply rooted into their childhood or, a traumatic event that they went through. And I was just wondering, I mean, is that sort of damage, does it kind of hinder you from overcoming these emotional and psychological barriers?
It is a
Maybe you could,
huge question.
Yeah, good one.
I don't have that personally, but I do know people that I've loved and lost with that. So on one of your questions, I would be like, yeah, do you know what? Actually, maybe that you're right. But then I'd be like, actually, I don't know because there's constantly changes all the time being made, and you're like, if people work enough with them, and you keep trying, maybe we will get there. But I think because like especially in America and the UK, they're so dead set on doing it with medication or not it taking if I swear I apologize like fucking years to see somebody in hospital. It People have already given up by that time, they're just they lose their mind because they're not being heard, they're not being listened to, they're they feel unloved, they don't feel like they're important, and
Yeah, that can damage anybody.
it does more damage probably waiting for that once they've lost, because they've already lost the fight and having to wait for the help. It's like another separate battle they weren't prepared to. You've already given up, so that extra time that they're not getting the help, you're in no man's land, and you're uh,
It's
well,
like rehabilitating a puppy that's got, grown without any socialization. Absolutely.
it,
I can see how the
yeah.
coaching ties into that. Thank you. Please go ahead. I'm sorry for interjecting.
I actually literally can't remember what I was saying now.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. There's no strict format here. We just segue from one topic to another and just have some personal connections. I think this is what matters most about this event.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talk about things, listen to other people, and just, I think just listening to other people's stories, it's not only interesting to me, but also I think it expands my mindset, and it allows me to see the broader world and change the way I see the world and other people in it, and to be kinder sometimes, because sometimes you don't see what you don't see. But so once you get something like a different perspective to the world, it changes the way you see the world, I think, too. I hope so,
Yeah.
definitely. So, some more hand raises. Whenever you have some ideas, you can always join in again. For a short period of time, Yumeta had his hand raised. Oh, there it is. And Mardal Aswar also. Okay, let me give megaphone to Mardal Aswar because he's in the list a little bit higher. There.
Okay. Well, I'm going to speak from my own personal perspective.
That's the best.
You know, when I was younger, I was always afraid of being alone. You know, I wanted somebody in my life in a relationship. You know, I've been through 4 marriages, you know, and other relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm older, I want to be alone, if that makes any sense. I don't want to have,
Mm-hmm.
you know, someone else. I don't want to feel dependent on someone else for my own emotional stability,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Wha-
So
yeah,
this is just
wise
me.
decision.
I'm not
I think
saying anybody
isolation
else.
is completely different to being alone, though, because you can feel very comfortable being alone, which I do quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Loneliness and isolation are completely different, in my
Okay, yeah.
opinion, to being alone.
Well, I used to feel isolated sometimes, you know. I mean, if there wasn't, you know, I come home to an empty house or whatever.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
COVID, of course,
it-
it amplified, I think, and there are
Yeah.
so many different things that.
Well, that was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But actually, I've actually kind of, you know, I don't really want a bunch of people coming over anymore, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. Maybe it's because I'm a grumpy old man. I don't know, but my perspective has changed.
Mm. Yeah, I
We do
can totally
actually
understand
grow.
that. Yeah. Not depending on anybody, or like I have this feeling when other people help me. Sometimes I might have this feeling that I'm burdening them, and they just don't tell me, but they've it's not very convenient to them or anything. So that kind of makes me think that maybe I shouldn't ask them. So I try not to ask for help for as long as possible sometimes. So that might also get in play. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think all the countries have had this different experience with COVID, but definitely, I think this question of isolation was more acute at that time, definitely. Okay, so thanks for sharing, Mardal Swar. Let me give a megaphone to Yumeta. Yumeta? Okay, I don't see you in the list again, but let me give you a megaphone just it is. There. Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Excuse my English a little bit. Stucking sometimes.
Never
Stuff.
worry about English. This is a place for practice. My English is not my first language too, so.
Yeah, I know. I suppose that in 1 or 2 years will be an automatic translator, which will make the life easier for all of us, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the worst epidemic that we're experiencing in those years is not the COVID. It's the isolation situation many people experience. I think it's killing more people than we know. And I'm referring especially to older people, but not only older people. And it's some sort of an epidemic. We are gathering in cities of millions of people, but everyone is isolated somehow, and many people get lost in this situation. And I hope that this technology will find ways to reach those people. They don't have any other way to communicate. So I think that it's a big threat of on our society to deal with it, and we should raise the awareness of the situation, so we can help a lot of people. And I know this for close, and I know that it's a wide range of situation that many people are experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea why this happens? And where does it come from? What kind of isolation is that? Because, well, anyway,
I think that
what do you think?
I think that the family concept is kind of retro. Also, the marriage concept, and people are more today on their own, less family, less friends, and they tend to be in their own houses, and they think that they have completely ordinary environment, but they don't have. They're quite isolated, and I think it's only going to get worse in the coming years.
Do you not feel that maybe it comes from everybody's selfishness as well? You know, a lot of people become, more selfish in this world. We all feel that, well, everybody I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of selfish people in this world that think they've got so much things better to do. But we are all selfish in that way that we think, oh, well, maybe they don't need us right now, or maybe I should stay out of it, or you're thinking from your perspective and can kind of go.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Longer it goes on, it's how, again, the time concept as well. It just always adds on to the misery, I guess.
This is why I said that we should increase the awareness to this situation, because other people don't aware to this thing, and it's kind of thing that if you don't look at it, you don't see it. It's clear and
out of sight, out of mind. True. Do you think that the selfishness is the consequence or the reason for it? What do you think, guys?
It could be a bit of both, could it not?
Yeah, could be both. Yes, like a circle, like a vicious circle. Maybe. Yeah, well, the lifestyle has changed dramatically, and I think Yumeta had a right point, and also I would add that the lifestyle has changed, the family values, and also the devices, because we have the internet. And it's unprecedented. I always like to remind that we see it as something ordinary, it's something that we are used to, but we should remember that this is first time. This is first time in history where we had such tight connections, and we have so many people around us. And I've never seen you in my entire life, but I have you in my brain doesn't see the difference. You are still like real people to me. And there are so many different connections that we have today, like our social networks and news and just rumors and like real people in your city, and then people on your Instagram, your Facebook, your any social network. And it's like a large overload for your brain, I think, and for your systems. Like your body doesn't have this experience of this information overload, because this is all information. And I think that I've seen a couple of times like how people with autism, for example, they get nervous so much because they can't read the body language that they see from other people, and it kind of makes them, well, partly because of that, they get nervous. And imagine having all these different connections all over the world, even here, because you look like little simplistic avatars. We even don't have legs here, but at the same time, my mind still reads the cues from you, like the way you stand, the way you move, and I still read that information, and that's a lot of information extra that we've never had that in the entire history, and that's totally, I think, changes the turntables, as they say, and it changes the way and it's very subtle. We don't see that, acutely. I think we see that little by little in all these different situations. So I think overpopulation also has this, not overpopulation, but this like large growth in social number of social connections also changes Yeah, because when you live in a big city, you can't be as kind and understanding and have real connections with your neighbors, with your colleagues, friends, like your family, because you're always busy and there's so many different people you have to have connections with. So these connections tend to become more superficial rather than deep and genuine. So, yeah, let me check out the hand races. So I would love to hear some other voices. Margot Lassoir, Asmen. Hello, Asmen. I like people with the Z in their names. Kind of resonates with my name, so. Hello, yeah.
Okay, so that's me. I think isolation is good for has more advantages than disadvantages, at least for me. It helps one to reflect on his own thoughts and discover his personality and himself. Um, I am I'm used to be on my own, and I really like it that way. But for in the COVID times, for example, my brother, who's an extrovert, he's absolutely opposite to me. He really struggled at the beginning because I would say it. He enjoys the distractions of life.
Yeah.
He would leave the home in the early morning and then come back in the evening. He would go to work and then have fun with friends. And for me, when you do things that distract yourself from your own thoughts, these are distractions from our own, from ourselves, and it doesn't help us. It harms us more. So the healthiest of us in terms of mentally is the one who can function normally and being normal, not going crazy. He lived alone for quite some time, without many distractions around him. And many great philosophers, they were actually enjoying isolation, and they were getting these ideas that revolutionized the world from being when they were not being around others, either in the nature or within their own houses or whatever. But usually extroverts don't bring us much revolutionary ideas in anything, politics, economy, science, religion. Most of these great minds are actually the ones who enjoy isolation and they have peace with their mind, and their mind can function in a way that is much more clear than uh, than with the all distractions we have in life. And the distractions are not technology only; it's even having fun with a friend every night, going to the coffee shop or whatever restaurant every night. It's some sort of a distraction. Yeah, that's my input, I guess.
Thanks for sharing. Oh my God, I understand your brother. I'm an extrovert trapped in a life of an introvert. So I suffered from that for what 3 years now. Like I started my unfortunate journey. Like I moved to my husband's city. Like it's right next to my city, like 2 hours drive. But still, it was like a very large change in lifestyle. And yeah, I did not go that seamlessly. And yeah, I think I agree with you. This is true that I think as extroverts, they find value in things that are outside themselves. And it's for them, it's not distraction, it's the main course. They enjoy doing things. I enjoy doing things like looking around, seeing things, exploring the world. But I would have to agree with you because real thinkers, they're mostly those people who are not afraid of solitude and who tend to spend more time alone. Because once you cut off these external stimulations, you start to look inside and you look for deeper thoughts and deeper processes than that. So yeah, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So Well, yeah, actually mentioned that solitude and isolation. Maybe it's not the same, but yeah, I think isolation is just the condition, and the way you feel about it. It's maybe solitude or maybe suffering, because like I definitely for some time I suffered because I couldn't do the things that I'm used to, that I value, that I enjoy, and I had to switch to a different direction. Yeah. Well, anyway. So yeah, thanks to my isolation, this event is going on for a year over. Yeah, so yeah, this is one of the positive sides of
Thanks
that.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the isolation. We have a lot of this VR.
Exactly. Yeah. And
all this.
yeah, Sun10 also has his hand raise, or her hand raise. We never know. Let me give you a megaphone. I'm Sun June. There. I can't hear you. Does anybody hear or see?
No.
No, me neither. Hey, Mendes. I was looking around. Did you bring some? I think you brought some new things over there. You're playing around.
No problem.
Uh-huh. Okay, so does anybody else want to share before we have Suntan come back? By the way, Suntan. Yeah, I can see it. Can you give a megaphone so we don't overdo it? When we both want to give a megaphone to someone, it ends up having none.
Sorry, you mean me, actually, sorry.
Yes, I can see you, I can hear you, and I'm glad to see you. Yay.
Hello.
Hi.
Yay. Oh, yeah, my sort of point on this bit is, we talk about isolation or solitude, but are we, because of VR and the worlds we can be in, this is a new type of, it's either a lack of isolation or a lack of solitude, depending on how you are. We're on completely different parts of the world, and there's most people all around the world. You can see them sphere out there.
Let me check the...
And yet, in a sense, we're not at all isolated, are we? So I'm just bringing up that there is a new type of isolation or lack of isolation. It's quite amazing, isn't it? That we're all here around the world. So are we isolated or not? Are we isolated or not here in this conversation? I would say probably not, because mentally, in terms of social interactions and that, we're doing the things that we would do if we were surrounded by our friends and that, aren't we? So, so it just shows how important that this sort of environment, the VR environment, is or can be to people who are otherwise isolated. I speak to several people here. I don't know if you know Andrew. He's also in Russia. He's south of Moscow, and he's very isolated physically. And yet he's in groups of people here a lot of the time. So it just gives a whole new different slant on the effects of isolation, doesn't it?
I agree. Yeah. So yeah, it's like I think any phenomena can have different levels. So I think that isolation is pretty much the same. You can have isolation on different levels, as you said. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be, and I think it's also fluid, because one day you might feel isolated or lonely or mentally in a negative way, but on the other hand, next day you can have a totally different experience. You never know. Okay, so Joe, let me give you a microphone once again. So you can add some thoughts there.
You got like a tap dripping, Abby, before I say what I'm gonna
Why
say.
not? Why not? Feel free. This is an open floor. I give you full authorization
You've got
to
a
express
tap.
yourself.
Your tap is dripping.
Yeah, it sounds like your
mine.
dripping or something over there.
Me?
Yeah.
Strange. Let me re-enter.
together, being as well or something. But it just basically is trying to remind you that no matter whether you're alone or not, we're always going to be quite close to each other, you know.
Right.
I
don't think there's ever a true escape.
Yeah.
So I know we've been talking about isolation as a kind of a negative thing, but could isolation also be something that empowers you or, gives you strength?
Good
It
question.
has lots of different possibilities.
Right. So like for me, for example, I seek late at night. I want to be alone. I don't want my wife in the room. I don't want my kids in the room. I want to be alone and focus on work or something. I think that type of isolate in that moment, that isolation is something that empowers me. When I'm chilling and I'm building worlds or I'm in VR, I like to go into my own world. I have a music world, and I just sit there for an hour listening to music. I'm by myself in a massive, infinitely large space, and I like it. I also do. It's just I think it like ignites my creativity to an extent. So I don't know. Anybody have positive experiences with isolation?
Well, yeah, I would say that the situation that I mentioned in my life, I think it ended up having these, motivation, encouragement for doing something different. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade, as they say. So I decided to, read more, to learn more about the world, about science, about like things that always interested me, but I never had time because I was distracted, as somebody said before. So yeah, I like to distract myself. This is something that I value, but also having this moment of solitude, I think it's a very important moment in life too, because as I said, like I remember this story when my sister, long time ago when I was a teenager, she actually told me she asked me a question like, oh, if you're trapped in an empty room that has nothing interesting in it and it's like it has no windows, no doors, if you're trapped there, what's gonna be your first action? And I said, I had some answer, but she said, well, I think my life goal is to be in that room, and once I get there, I want my thoughts not to be like, how do I get out of here? Like, I don't want to be here. I'm stressed and I'm trapped and those things. She said, I want to live my life so that way I can, in that situation, I can say, finally, I have some time to think of my, thoughts that I never had time to have. And she said, try to be that person that is going to be the most interesting person for you in the room. So yeah, enjoying your own company, I think, is one of the
it's very hard to teach yourself to do that, though.
It's
very difficult. It's a journey and a half. Like getting the strength to be able to enjoy your own company, but isolation that builds up that positive. I think when I'm going on what Mendes was saying, that with all the isolation I was talking about before, even though COVID broke me and I know millions of others, I've also had the positivity that it's made me stronger from having to be strong. At the same time as having to be forced to be strong, so you never know how strong you're going to be until you have to be that strong, or how strong you can be. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
I think when we deal with isolation, oftentimes come to a crossroads of whether we're going to let the isolation lead us to depression or empowerment. I'm just wondering, what are some factors that drive us to either or? Is it a way that we enter into isolation? Is it how we come out of that isolation that determines whether we have depression from it or whether we're empowered? Just wondering what some other people's motivating factors are.
It's like a whole another conversation, isn't it? Like, it's crazy with all the amount of answers it could be. I think it's surely in the middle somewhere, because it's how you're going to you're questioning how you're coping from the beginning, but also how you're actually going to cope at the end, maybe. And you're just like probably questioning everything you've already done and everything you haven't done, or is that just how my mind reacts? I think because I'm always overthinking everything. Yeah.
I suffer from that too.
Yep, I can relate to that too. Okay, before I get into the way, let me give a microphone to TJ5. Maybe he can also can have some comments and also maybe answer that question too.
Thank you. I just wanted to add a quick point to what Mr. Savage was saying over there. I think isolation can be quite addictive as well. As you said, you know, sometimes it's very satisfying to be alone, and as Mr. Mardil Swar was saying as well, you know, it's gratifying to be alone sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm an '80s baby, so I have a younger brother who who hasn't experienced the same things I have. I know he's isolated, he's doing this kind of thing, and coming into VR, you know, I've noticed a lot of people are actually living their lives through this and relishing their isolation. So there's a thin line, I think, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Okay, Ronin, everybody, please behave. I try to stay calm and not to be, you know.
Yeah, guys, there's no need for the trolling.
Yeah,
so be respectful.
Yeah, guys, if you're trolling, we can easily kick you out. So please be respectful, and yeah, you'll be respected back. Yeah, Ronin, would you like to be blocked or just kicked out? It's not too difficult to do. Okay.
No, well, thanks on both of you. Do you want to stay or just want to go?
Yeah, he also has a hand raise, so maybe he has something to say. Let me give you a megaphone for a while. There you go. You can share your thoughts.
I was recently diagnosed with depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that VR has helped me quite a lot throughout my struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like apps like this that help me out.
Mm-hmm.
It just,
Do you think that did isolation cause your depression?
I think it was lockdown that caused my depression. I'm not gonna lie. Being away from my family and friends.
Thanks for sharing. How do you cope right now?
Wonder how VR. Yeah, how are you coping with? How does VR help you cope? What are you doing to do that?
Well, I don't have to go out into the real world, and I don't have to like see people. I can do it all in VR, so that I don't feel like embarrassed and about how I feel. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think VR has so much space for taking that different approach to your life. I think. Well, and certainly I've seen some pattern here that I also see some different groups here for ADHD and neurodiversity in different groups. I see some therapeutic talks, like where people can meet and share how their day was. Death Q&A is actually very interesting and surprising discovery for me, that it has like this meetings where people talk about death, and I think this is also very rare and interesting, that and I really appreciate VR having, particularly Outspace for having that. So yeah, I hope you're gonna be better. I can relate to this isolation problems. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's see who else wants to share their thoughts. Okay, so no hand raises. So again, maybe I can answer your question. You said that as far as I remember, Mendes, you said that like isolation can lead to something bad, but also maybe it could be turned to the better.
Right.
It's a good question. Of course it can. It depends on how you use your, as I said, if life gives you lemons, maybe make lemonades. If those people who can take that approach and have enough energy, I think this is a very important point to make. Because if people feel unlucky or broken or abandoned in the first place, and then they have this additional problems like COVID or maybe loss of jobs, and any other major problems that we faced, and like a lot of negative emotions, because there's the information field was contaminated, I think, with all this depressive news about the COVID, and like evergreen, and every month was some crap was happening. So I think it's really important for every person to have that positive balance of energy on their account, I'd say, because it has like happiness is has so many different components, like your family, your body, your health, your friends, your job, like those things that you where you spend time and who you spend time with. And yes, I think that happiness is largely related to social connections. And those people who have that slim account, when they don't have those many islands of happiness that they have in every sphere,
Right.
that really complicates the problem. And I think that's the main problem. And it's like having we mentioned schizophrenia. I think people get schizophrenia when they have predisposition, like genetically, I think it's like mostly inherited. But if you have that gene, it can just stay there and never be expressed, and you'll be fine for the most of the time. But sometimes if you have that problem, and in addition to that, like some episodes like that make you depressed or nervous, or had some violence in the family, that gene might activate. And sometimes it might take some instances like 2 or 3 combinations of factors that really trigger that gene to be expressed. And I think it's pretty much with with negative feelings about isolation too. If you don't have enough energy, if you don't have enough integrity to get into that challenge, I think it might make things much worse. But if you get into that trouble, having some positive account, like you have a job that you enjoy, that you love, and you didn't lose, and or maybe you have a hobby that you really enjoy, you have some good, strong, genuine connections, that helps. But I think that's just a balance. It's all about the balance. I think that difficult questions don't have simple answers. So I think what matters is how you enter that trouble and how you're going to deal with it.
Well, I think that through not only just isolation, but most obstacles in life, it's about how we enter that struggle, and that ultimately can determine how we come out of that struggle. I like how you said that we should have something going, some type of positivity as we enter into isolation or into these obstacles. I'm glad that you're glass half full type of person, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else got any tools that you can use? I know for me, I like to even any obstacle I do face, I like to take the time to breathe first off, and make sure I analyze what's to come. I think that keeps me calm as I enter into an obstacle like isolation or depression. I think that helps me. Anybody have any other ideas or tools that could help us get through isolation problems? Marijuana is a good one.
That's a good tip.
That is very true.
Not available everywhere, unfortunately. And not for everyone, I guess. Like, not all people can use that. Answering your question, I think it's maybe this resourcefulness that I have. Go ahead. I hear somebody speaking. Ronan, would you like to get a microphone?
Yeah, I hear someone.
People threw in some portals. Hold on. Oh, I have some participation. Oh, I'm Rock, by the way. I've seen your hand raise and then I lost it, so now I see it again. Ronan, once again.
No. I was only agreeing with I don't know with Mendes on the marijuana. And I was just saying that it is available. It's just like some have to get as it's not legal, so it makes it very difficult, and sometimes you can't use it to its full extent.
Some people have medical conditions too, or they just don't find it soothing. It depends on the person. Yeah, I would also share that I think it's very important to have this creative and resourceful approach to everything. Like that, whenever you try to think of how to creatively use that thing, even if you're forced to use it, and if you did not like choose that. Whatever happens, just happens. Sometimes, if you can't change the thing around you, try to change the way you see it and try to make it creative. So, if you know that you're gonna be trapped at home for months, I think many people thought about it. Oh, what can I get out of it? Like maybe I can learn something. Maybe I can read some new stuff that I never had time to do. Maybe I can have my virtual reality space set up or anything. So yeah, that
So maybe
creative
I can
approach.
build my shed or something. Right?
Yeah. Why not? Create an event. Yeah. Okay, Amrak, kindness first. I like your name. Let me give you a megaphone. Yeah, I lost you from the list again. But I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna give you a megaphone. There.
I'm
Okay.
gonna take this damn megaphone.
Hold on. I don't see him in the list as well.
Yeah, I think he left.
Oh,
Actually.
maybe. Yeah. Too bad. Okay,
Ryan Mark.
Magnus.
I can't pronounce that.
Yeah. Let me give you a megaphone and then also Magnus
Sorry,
is on
brother.
this. Oops. Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Hello, Agalat.
So hello guys. So about the productivity while you isolate and in isolation, So let me just describe my experience. So what happened when COVID started? It was shocking everybody and including me with my family. And I was staying home and everybody was working from home. I was working and I'm still working in event industry, and my life was so fast, and incredibly fast. So that isolation during COVID helped me just slow down and try to, in one moment I realized that after visiting a lot of events on iSpace VR, after visiting and jumping to communities, speaking with people, I realized that actually I was living in my life in my environment, like in bubble, where I have just work and I have home. I have work and I have home. And sometimes I had an intersection with my friends, but isolation helped me just to move my head a little bit up and understand that where I am right now. And when COVID hit, that a lot of people, in event industry, because it hit event industry very first, I try to understand, okay, right now I need to find maybe something else to start working on, because event industry is stopped for a long time and I don't see the light, the end of the tunnel. Maybe I need to start something new. And isolation helped me to just move my head up and see that actually, because I was trying to find the work in I'm from Dubai, and I was trying to find work in Dubai, and I realized, why I should find a job in Dubai, and why not just to explore, for example, United Arab Emirates at all? And after that I realized, stop, why I'm just concentrated in United Arab Emirates, why I'm not looking to other countries? And after that, it's just, it was that idea that actually I can just cover all the world and find and search all over the world and see where and actually I can find myself in a better place. So that isolation helped me to slow down and move my head up and see that actually I was on that just infinity circle, and that isolation just pulled me out from that infinity circle to go and work home, and it helped me just to realize that yes, there is a lot of different communities, there are a lot of different people, and not just around me, but across the world, and they have their own world, and some of them are very interested. And isolation helped me just to spend time in this world and meet new people. Yeah.
Right. So isolation helped you expand your entire bubble, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Victor, I'm sorry I had to mute you because you have echoing. If you don't mind, can you mute yourself when you don't speak? Yes. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing. This is actually a very good point that you brought up. That actually COVID helped us, change the scale of things that we see. Before that, we were so concentrated on our own lives and our own locations. And with COVID, everybody realized that the whole world is like, no matter how rich you are or poor you are, where you are from, like it affected every country and every family basically. And in some way it expanded, I think, our thinking to a larger scale. Then people started realizing that there are other countries, there are other people, and they can reach them no matter how far they are. And it has changed the way we think. And I think changing the profession is also one of the popular decisions that people had. And everybody, when they're 30, I think about changing their professions too, because you kind of reevaluate your life and values you have. I certainly have that. And a lot of people had that chance to jump over to something totally unknown, but totally new. And I think that was a very a good point for that, because the time of danger and changes, sometimes, like they say, the Chinese symbol for crisis also means opportunity. So if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah, so
I've
I
heard
like
that.
that approach. I think that whenever people have, like, there's crisis, there's always an opportunity there. Haha. Isn't that ironic, being in Russia? Okay, Magnus Brand, you still have your megaphone, your hand up. Let me give you a megaphone. There.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Magnus Brandyboy. I'm from Germany, and
cool.
it's funny, when I came here I was looking around and then I heard you say something about schizophrenia. And I have schizophrenia.
Oh wow, sure.
And I have it for a while now. I've been diagnosed a couple of years ago, and I started to isolate myself when my last schizophrenic episode began. It's one of the symptoms of schizophrenia, and in my case, my schizophrenia, my episode was triggered by the use of cannabis. So I want to, just say cannabis can be helpful for some people, but for some people like me, it is absolute no-go.
Thanks for sharing that. That's really important. Yes.
A couple of months ago, and I'm on medication right now, and I started meditating, and a couple of weeks ago I started exercising, which is very helpful. And isolating myself and meditating, it helped me to calm down, and it also helped me to realize what was going on in my life, and to understand what was going on. That also helped me to start moving into a different direction and to make healthy changes in my life. Still at the beginning, at least I feel I'm still at the beginning of my path, but I think I'm making progress.
I love that you shared that. Thanks for coming. This is really amazing. Sorry, I'm overly excited because I'm interested in neuroscience and mental health and stuff like that, and that's why this is really precious to me to hear personal stories as well as. Yeah, this event is for that. Yeah, this is a very important point that you brought up. That many drugs, but specifically I think cannabis and everything that is based on that, cannabinoids and psychedelic drugs, they might induce this psychosis state, and for some people it can be that last crack that actually starts this process where the mental predisposition just becomes this real condition. So. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And how do you feel today? It's do you get back into balanced state, and how did it feel? Well, I don't want to be too pushy, but
today I feel pretty good. I came home from work and I did my exercise routine. I did it in VR. I used Les Mills Body Combat. And after that I got some food. I watched Star Trek, which is my antidepressant. And today I feel good, but yesterday, for example, I felt terrible. I felt absolutely terrible. I came home from work, didn't exercise, I just ate something and then went to bed and was just sleeping. I have these mood swings. On some days I feel normal, I feel good. Sometimes I feel really good, and then some days I feel like, I don't know, on a scale from 1 to 10, minus 10.
Wow, that's a large swing. I can relate to that. Yes, the mood swings happen today because I think many people have more and more mental diseases, and it's like, as I said, this switch in lifestyle is very stressful for our bodies and our minds, and I think this is going to be happening more and more, like to people, not only schizophrenia but other specters of bipolar and many other diseases. So yeah, I hope you get better and find those more and more those little islands of something that calms you down and makes you feel better. Do you have any I think they call it mindfulness practices, like something that you really enjoy to do and you're in the moment?
Yes, that's guided meditation.
Oh yeah,
Also VR. Most of the stuff that I do is in VR.
Cool.
I really enjoy that. I have to say that most of the time I also enjoy it to be alone. There's sometimes when I feel lonely, when I think it would be nice to have some company. Most of the time I feel really good. I enjoy being alone. I enjoy quiet. And I think that is, I read this quote, I think it was by Jim Carrey, that the loneliness of being alone can be dangerous because it's so nice and quiet.
Addictive.
And you get used to it.
Yeah.
I agree.
And while I don't, I'm afraid I'm gonna forget this, but for everybody who wants to explore some, how it feels, I think if I'm not mistaken, this in VR, in Oculus 2, in that ecosystem, you can get this experience that is called Goliath, 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 like the opponent of David in the biblical history.
Goliath?
Yeah, Goliath. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I pronounced it as Goliath in Russian. Thanks for that. And yeah, I think it's an experience that is called to show people how it feels to have schizophrenia and to have a psychosis, psychotic episode. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Thanks for sharing. And yeah,
It should be gone.
Yeah. Goliath, right? Goliath. Okay, so participation. Yeah, that's it. I think we had only Magnus on the list.
But I know you've been suffering with a lot of problems. Why don't you ask a question? You've got to express your feelings, man.
Are you talking to Fred?
Just let everybody...
Yeah, don't be afraid to raise your hand. I'm gonna give you a microphone. You can just express yourself, guys. Don't feel, pushed or threatened or anything.
Come on.
What is that party that you're having there?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
Just jealous.
Yeah. So I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead. So it's good that you have questions, so we don't have hand raises so far.
What are yeah, so I know we got into positive things that we do during isolation. Just wondering if anybody wanted to share some of their go-to activities when they are in that moment. Like anything you do specifically, like any certain projects you start, or what do you do when you're in isolation and you're ultra productive or you're really at peace? Like, what are some of your activities? Curious.
Yeah,
I'll give you a megaphone, free Brett.
Yeah, also we can later talk about physical isolation too, like territories and countries too. I think we get back to borders discussion too. Yeah, go ahead.
Meditation is the best thing for when you're stressed out. Meditation. Go away.
Can you
When you go to
recommend?
bed, when you wake up in the morning, whenever you just feel stressed, meditate. The greatest thing.
It is. What kind of meditations do you use? Do you have any recommendations or like tips?
I just sort of play like the music that you're playing right now on my thing. You just sort of breathe and relax. you like play mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have to use the guided
That's it.
meditations. I get distracted real quick. That's why. If I have a voice guiding me, that's a little bit easier.
There's a thing called I think it's Schumann's resonance.
resonance,
So a lot of times, yeah, what I do is I'll play that and then I'll go into like a dark space, either VR or real life, and I'll listen to that for a while and do some silent meditations that way.
Interesting. I have a couple of videos. Actually, there are 3 videos. They're called psychedelic visuals, volume 1, 2, and 3. I really enjoy those videos. I remember Mendes. I think we watched one of the episodes. I just don't get.
Yeah,
I
we
never
watched
get
one.
tired of watching them. It's like, it has so many different visual intensive. It's like music set and like 1 hour and a lot of visual
You know,
stuff. Yeah.
I think that's where we differ the most, because
Yeah.
you really do like those visual things, but I don't like them.
Mhm.
I like more. So like I like for me, like being in VR and going into, like, I have a room that's just pure nothingness. I really like that. No,
Yeah.
I don't know
Mhm.
what it is about me. That is just what I like. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah. Well, why not? It's cool to be different.
Alien.
Yeah. Because I think I get bored and distracted real quick. That's why I like the strong stimulation. Maybe that's why I don't like salads. I like savory things and sweets. So I'm still a kid.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately. Yeah. So it depends on people. Like some people, they really enjoy what they eat if it's like healthy food and it's tasteless, basically. But they just like, because they can reduce their speed and they can really be in the moment and enjoy anything that they are doing. It's great. They can enjoy that. But I think I get distracted quickly. Maybe because of my lifestyle, I tend to speed up at many things. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna get to that point where I'm gonna want that emptiness and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, maybe another reason that I feel a little bit numb when I try to imagine things. Well, my internal imagination is not as powerful as my visual cortex when I see things. So I enjoy that somebody created something amazing that is like very similar to what I want to see in my head, but I'm not able to do. So yeah, I just find easy ways.
Yeah. Well, and then like for me, when I'm in the I'm seeing and creating things visually that aren't there. You know, even though it's pure nothingness, but I'm creating it in those moments. I mean, it's cool.
Now I'm intrigued. I want to visit your room.
Yeah.
Your world. Got it. Great. Yeah. Anybody else want to share their thoughts on that?
Yeah, me too. I also kind of creating world VR, and also I have so many interests. So, for example, I made my research on maybe for somebody it will be crazy, but I start collecting Hot Wheels car, small car that's in scale 1/64. So that kind of brings me like my mood and like concentration away from work, away from anything else. It just makes me like calm, and I'm just enjoying seeing my collection and enjoying learning about new collections. And yeah, and I also collecting old coins from different countries. So I have like 3 albums with different coins around the world because I also love to travel. So yeah, that actually helps me kind of it's calming me down, and yeah, that concentration away from work, it helps a lot. That collecting stuff and be interesting in that collection. Same way I'm building my worlds too. Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to build my worlds, and that also gives me enjoy of doing it. Yeah.
As I mentioned before, maybe some new people joined the room. Agalar created this amazing place. It's called the Arabian Nights. so you can check it out on the Worlds. Yeah, maybe after the event we can also throw a portal there.
Yeah, it's still under like work in progress. I'm still developing, but yeah, you can.
It has the right
please
vibe
join.
already. I think that's really nice. Yeah, and I don't see Myelin, but he also shared another interesting world with us that he's building. So this is really cool. People are building places and worlds, and I think that's really cool that people can have this creativity moments, and other people can enjoy that.
Right.
That's really cool. Okay, so let me see. Marta Laswar had his hand raised. Let me give a megaphone to him too. Here.
I'm actually a little embarrassed to say this, but I like to write comedy. I've been working on a comedy.
Oh, that's cool. I would love to hear some
Yeah,
jokes,
yeah,
if you don't
yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Comedy club they have on Alt Space.
Oh, an
Mondays
open mic?
and-
Open mic something? Mm-hmm.
I performed there a few times. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know
Isn't
that.
that cool? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably be there. I mean, some of my stuff is really very adult oriented, but I've been trying to clean
Right.
up my act a little bit. My niece is wanting to come and see me, but yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Next time I see
are you finding your best creativity during your isolation times?
yeah, I am.
Is that what you-
It's when I get up in the morning and I'm sitting here and I just start trying to think. It's become kind of almost an obsession with me, to be honest. I'm trying to come up with things that I think people will find funny, and it can be challenging, especially doing the clean stuff. You'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to do blue humor, but
Right.
But I've been trying to clean up my act, and it can be challenging. It keeps I'm working out. I've got something going that I think, but yeah, it's challenges my mind, and it kind of keeps my sense of humor, in sharper. I don't want to lose that. I've always been able to laugh at myself, and, and I can make other people laugh, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah, isn't that precious? Thanks for sharing. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Well,
It really is.
when do you have? Do you go to open mic often?
Yeah, I used to run through, when I come up with something new, I usually try it out on all the open mics to see how it plays out. So yeah, but the main one I try to concentrate on is the one on Monday nights, because they have people come up, sometimes about 10 or 12 people come up, and these are not, they have professional Indians on Thursdays and Fridays, but they let people come up who are just trying to try it out on Mondays. And that's usually when I'm on, but that's the one I concentrate on.
Cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'd love to see that. Why not? Yeah, that would be.
Well, I like how isolation turns into creativity turns into productivity, and now that isolation is bringing him, real world satisfaction doing what he likes to do. So,
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yes.
usually when people hear the word isolation, it's usually always back into depression and something negative. So, just hearing so many good experiences from isolation is refreshing too. So, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it seems like it's there's this procedure like the sensory deprivation, like this interesting phenomenon. Like our brain is so active that when we don't have that external stimulation, we certainly go into this different mode where our brain basically starts generating content sometimes. That's why people might have these hallucinations or strange visions when they're in the isolation. See, people even pay for that to get into isolation tank. Like, what was it, like sensory deprivation tank? So yeah, I think this isolation is basically something that makes us, when we can't move around and we are isolated physically, I think that stimulates that internal flux of thoughts, of abilities, and we might, discover some things that we didn't even know that we had. I believe that humans have like a large potential in many ways, and we have short lives. So some things you might not even know unless you're isolated or forced to do something. It's cool.
Right.
I was going to mention something, but I keep forgetting it. Anyway.
You see 2 hand raisers.
Oh, cool. Let's give a microphone to people.
Thomas?
Yes.
How's everybody doing today?
Now that you were pointing out how you react.
Pretty good, Thomas. Let me give you a megaphone.
Good. Okay, good.
Okay.
There, yes, finally I can hear.
Okay, I think one thing that might have changed a person in isolation is Stephen Hawking. Because when he lost his ability to move, to interact, his mind was really enhanced by that, I guess. So I think this is one prime example how isolation can change your mind to be really, really productive, or outstanding productive.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent example. Excellent example.
So if Stephen Hawking wouldn't have these disabilities, would have he been, or would have he be able to be such a great scientist?
Good point.
I guess, yeah.
Another interesting thing is
kind
that
of like that Daredevil effect where he lost his sight, so his other senses enhanced, right? So.
Yeah, yeah. I think with Stephen Hawking it's really amazing how I think it's also amazing how his power, the power of his mind and internal motivation was so large that he has lived for such a long time. Well, lived for such a long time because
correct, yes.
Yeah, I think he had this diagnosis and he had to die very early, and that's amazing how rich his life was and how productive he was. And I think even at university he was motivated because he knew that this disabling, crippling disorder started manifesting itself. He was motivated to finish the works as quickly as possible, so he worked very hard. But eventually he has lived for such a long, amazing life, and I think that's really cool. And it shows how not only isolation can stimulate our extra powers and abilities, but also to show how powerful our minds are, which is a very interesting point too. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing. We had some more hand raises. So, okay, Joe, would you like to add something? Sorry for the noise.
My mind is like blowing up right now. I kind of dabble in and out with marijuana as well, and I haven't actually had any for the last 3 or 4 months from being quite sick. I think I might have mentioned a few times ago, I can't remember. I just literally 2 days ago got a different kind of, we've spoken about it before, indica is a different type for how it affects your body. And it's had a completely different effect on me. And I swear to God, and people I know will back me up on this, 2 days ago when I first had it, it's as if the tension and the physical pain literally lifted out of me. And for me, someone like me with the amount I have going on, to say that, I was so shocked even the next day, like how it could happen. And I speak about, I speak to quite a lot of people that believe that a positive mindset can change and heal you. And I've struggled with having a positive mind for, probably all my life. And it's a very ingrained thing. There is really something to this. And I know it's such an easy thing to say, but it takes a lot for your mind to truly start believing it. It's like when somebody tells you you're beautiful, you can accept the compliment, but unless you truly believe that about yourself, it doesn't register. You just kick it back to the back of your head, and it's so weird how maybe this will actually start to kind of the world is so focused on the wrong part of our mental health, our physical health, wish we took it back to such a more basic level. It's such a shame that we view it totally the wrong way, and I can't believe it's took this long for me to realise, like 37 years, you know?
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. But I think that it is true, you're right. I think the world has very strange priorities today, especially with the situation going on, because I think many of you know that I live in Russia, and I was born here, and unfortunately all these things, they affect very dramatically the economy and the lives of people who live inside both countries, because these are brotherly countries, and it's like awful and devastating how this is changing people's lives. But at the same time, I think that maybe this is our way of learning things, as you said, because people started having more mental disorders and more depression and many other mental health issues. I think people started turning to this seriously in the first place, and started seeking for some new ways to solve the problems. And I hope this is going to be like the psychedelic renaissance that is going on today, and not only psychedelic, but like the, for example, medical marijuana that is being legalized in many countries nowadays. It shows this shift towards, from the world of stigma and from the world of labels. Oh, you're sick. You're some kind of broken person. You should be something that should be get rid of. But now the world is. I think that's really great that it's the situation is changing a lot, and I hope that these lessons that we're getting today, they're going to be this. Hopefully change for the better.
What's really frustrating though is with people like me. Sorry, Dave. I was just gonna say that with people who have got all these illnesses, but they keep getting thrown all these different opiates and different effects and different tablets, but they know deep down that these different medicinal plants or whatever can actually help you. I only just learnt the other day, I knew that you could get prescriptions in the UK, but it's so difficult. Like, I've been begging them to give me this medication for what's going on 10 years. And you have to literally go private, and there's people that get it for far less, and it's like a fight. Why is it gotta be such a fight? It's exhausting.
It's not really good for you. It's not particularly good for you. I'm just saying it's not particularly good for you all the time.
I think medical is
Right. Well, there's a lot of
Hold on, Papa
man-made
Kilo's also saying
chemicals in
something.
this world that just isn't good for us anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that we started seeing that I think is the beginning of the big change. Papa Kilo was saying something, so I'm trying to give him a megaphone so that way everybody can hear him.
Well, I live in the States, and we got recreational and medical and stuff like that, state to state. But I'm all for it. I mean, hey, if it makes you feel better and it helps your situation, then why shouldn't you? Not
right.
Alcohol is probably much worse than anything else.
Yes, exactly. I think as far as substances, I mean, if it's something that's going to help you in the long run, then I support that. What I don't support is we have big pharma all across the world that makes money peddling drugs that will guarantee you death. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of substances that we ban and outlaw that have nothing to harm us. But there's a lot that doctors shove down our throat that does cause harm.
True.
Yeah.
Doctors love to prescribe us many things, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
that's their job.
Yeah. The awareness all over the world, I hope it's rising, and people will understand better how they are being manipulated. I think the propaganda is going on in every single country, and I'm curious how people are surprised when they learn that. Oh, did you know that also, like, not only the propaganda, but also like different governments spy on their citizens and other countries and all that. and these scandals with Facebook and different social networks that are also spying on like phone companies and all those digital data that is being, monitored and used for different things. But I hope that one day people will be developed enough to figure out what's good and what's bad for them, and to make their own decisions based on common sense and like what's good and what's bad. But I think in order to do that, people should be more empathetic too, because from where I'm from, I could see this tendency for people, because they have miserable lives. A lot of people want to find, and I think not only people but countries too, when they have some problems inside the country, they try to create an external enemy. So that way they can, distract people's attentions and say, hey, these guys are bad. That's why you should, we should do this and that, like those things that the people would not accept otherwise. And they create this external enemy. And I think with people who have limited and miserable lives, it's the easiest way to justify that. They want somebody else to be worse. And I think people who have this stigma against people who are drug addicts, well, they say, well, drug addicts are the worst. And even if I live a miserable life and have all terrible things, it's easier to find somebody who's even worse. And I think this is a general situation that happens, that it's not about the problem itself. My God, my husband is making fun of me. Okay, so yeah, I think it's really important to be aware of your own life and your own decisions, and not to build that outcast, group of people who makes you feel better, even though you don't even know them. So stop. Yeah, you should see people, not like some labels. And yeah, I hope that future is going to be there.
I think this last bit of isolation we had went a long way to helping people just look around and see what's really going on in the world, focusing on what's important. Because a lot of times in our past, as humans, we've done exactly that too. Something happened somewhere else in the world, and instead of blaming the people responsible, a lot of times we'll blame the entire race of people for the entire country, and not just take into consideration that, a handful of folks who actually make those decisions. So I think that's something that we did gain during this bout of isolation we faced. Just wanted to share that.
Thanks for sharing.
I think Ronan has his hand up.
Hello. Going back onto the point about using substances and like drug abuse. When I was younger, I used to have the problem where I used to use crack cocaine as a method of trying to. My friends used to push me into it, and I just got too out of hand at one point, and then my life just turned upside down, and it was a stress reliever, but it was too bad. It cost a lot of money, and it was also illegal, and I just wanted to follow the rules, so I stopped it, and my depression increased greatly, and now I just feel like I'm lost, and I have no other source. Like marijuana doesn't help at all. I just feel like I'm just stuck here.
Right, drugs do a really good job of convincing us that the world is different than what it really is. It creates a whole alternate reality that our bodies, spirits, and minds just want to be back in. And once we get off the drugs, or we don't have that drug anymore, we find out that we can't achieve that. But in reality, you can. You just gotta find, healthy outlets, something that motivates you. And life is always a learning process. So, sorry that you experienced that. Anybody else?
Я только включила ебаный микрофон, жопа.
I had a lot of families who were addicted to hard narcotics. So, we talk about marijuana, but, there's actual hard narcotics out there that once you have your body, mind, and spirit craves. So, overcoming something like that, I just want to say I'm proud that you're able to find your way out of that disease of addiction. So I mean, you can
Thank you,
have
man.
some